Did you know that February 2nd, or 40 days after Christmas, is traditionally celebrated as Candlemas? This feast commemorates the presentation of the Lord in the temple. In the Eastern Church, the feast is known as Hyperpant, meaning meeting, which highlights the encounter between the Holy Family, Saint Simeon and the prophetess Anna, as described in Luke 2 verses 22 to 38. Candlemas is traditionally marked by the blessing of candles, which symbolizes the light of Christ. It is a reminder of Saint Simeon's beautiful prophecy in verses 30 to 32. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light for revelation to the Gentiles, and for glory to your people Israel. Jesus is described as a light for revelation to the Gentiles. The depth and richness of this feast become even more evident when we explore the Jewish practices behind it, which help illuminate its profound significance for us today. Jesus was presented at the temple. Here's why it matters. In Luke 2 verses 22 to 24, we see Mary and Joseph bringing baby Jesus to the temple in Jerusalem. Why? Because they followed the law of Moses. Scripture teaches us that every firstborn, whether human or animal, is consecrated to God. Exodus 13 verse 1. This commandment comes as a response to God saving the firstborn Israelites during the 10th plague, which struck down the firstborn of the Egyptians. Exodus 13 verses 11 to 16. This act of consecration was a way to recognize and give thanks for God's saving power. Firstborn sons, however, had to be redeemed through an offering made at the temple, as outlined in Numbers 18:15-16. This is why Mary and Joseph brought Jesus to the temple, offering a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons in accordance with the law. Did you know that Jewish families still celebrate this tradition today? It's called Pigeon Haben, a special ceremony where firstborn sons are symbolically redeemed. Mary's purification, a deeper meaning. The presentation isn't just about Jesus. It's also about Mary. According to Leviticus 12 verses 1 to 4, when a woman gave birth to a male child, she was considered ritually impure for 7 days. After that, she entered a 33-day period of purification, totaling 40 days before she could re-enter the sanctuary. In her humility, Mary followed the law, and her visit to the temple marked the end of her purification period. This act allows us to appreciate the profound faith and devotion Mary displayed through her obedience to God's commandments. As Kendra Tierney points out in the Catholic All-Year Compendium, Liturgical Living for Real Life, the previous Roman calendar did not focus on the presentation, but on the purification of Mary. While Mary, as the Immaculate Conception, did not need purification, her observance of this law beautifully highlighted her deep submission to God's will. Many Jewish women today still observe traditions related to ritual purity, reflecting continuity with ancient practices. Why this matters for Catholics? This feast is a powerful reminder of how deeply our Catholic faith is rooted in the faith of ancient Israel. From the consecration of firstborn sons to the purification of mothers, these practices laid the foundation for understanding the events of Christ's life. As Catholics, recognizing these Jewish roots helps us see how Jesus fulfills the promises of the Old Testament. It also enriches our appreciation for the Church's liturgical celebrations. In the previous Roman calendar, Candlemas marked the end of the Christmas season because the celebration marks the completion of the biblical events associated with Jesus' nativity. So, the next time you light a candle on Candlemas or hear the story of the presentation, remember this: you're celebrating a moment where heaven and earth, Old Covenant and New, came together in Jesus Christ, the light of nations, and the fulfillment of God's promises to Israel and the world. Do you have a favorite tradition for Candlemas or the Feast of the Presentation? Do you participate in the blessing of candles?